Hey guys, this is Justin. Hello and welcome to another video. Today I've got what I think is a pretty fun video topic. I want to talk about 5 instances where the Empire actually got their shit together and used some smart tactics or strategy against the Rebel Alliance. Now this will be everything from individual battles to widespread campaigns. Sometimes there will be a fatal flaw in what they did, other times not. Before we get into this one though, I do have a bit of a channel update and a sponsor. If you want to skip ahead, I'll put the timestamp on screen. Anyway, as you can probably still hear in my voice, I've been really sick for the past week or so. I've completely skipped uploading on this channel. That's why. I don't think I've went that long between uploads in maybe a year or two, maybe even longer. Anyway, no complaints from you guys, which I don't know, maybe I should be insulted by. I'm just joking, but thanks for your patience and understanding. If you follow me on Twitter, which I would appreciate, I'll put a link down below. You'll also see that I've been dealing with copyright trolls. It's not the first time. Every single video on my second channel, which uses my intro music, Home Resonance, has been claimed. They're currently doing the same on this channel as well, which is incredibly annoying. YouTube hasn't been able to help me so far. They don't have the rights to the music. I've been talking to the artist. Legal things are being considered, so we'll see where that goes. Anyway, as my revenue is being decreased and sort of under attack, I do want to give a very special thank you to the longtime sponsor of the Eckhart's Ladder channel, Vite Ramen. I've been working with Vite Ramen for years now. You guys love the brand, and so do I. They love me too, so much in fact that we actually made our own flavor, Masaman curry. Right now, it's sold out because it's so damn good, but they've got a ton of other great flavors as well. I'd recommend the roasted soy chicken, and the best part is the meals are really easy to make. I mean, if I can do it, that's a good sign. They're delicious, they're super healthy, especially for ramen, low sodium, low calories, bioavailable nutrients, everything. And you're buying from a small American business which treats their employees really, really well. Right now, you can get 10% off Vite Ramen by going to their website linked in the description, or viteramen.com/EckhartsLadder, and using the code Eckharts. You can also check out the really cool launch animation we did for our new flavor, and you'll also get free shipping in the contiguous USA and some gifts. So again, link down below, use code Eckharts. Alright, let's get into it. And depending on your knowledge of Star Wars Legends, you may or may not be surprised to learn that most of the entries in this video come from the Warlord era or beyond, i.e. the time after the Battle of Endor. There were definitely other options I could have included. I think the Disaster Deep Space Besh would have been a good option. I think how the Empire managed to handle separatist holdouts was a good bit of tactics, but these are the 5 that really stood out to me because of their diversity, really, of strategy and tactics. This first entry is a small, quick one, but I like it because it shows the Empire flexibly adopting to the new realities of the post-Endor era. In the height of the Galactic Civil War, if the Empire received intel about a rebel stronghold, they simply go in with a Star Destroyer and clean it up. With the Empire fractured, Star Destroyers spread across the galaxy and under the control of different warlords, that wasn't quite as easy. Anyway, as it started its campaign against the numerous warlords across the galaxy, the New Republic split its naval forces into 4 discrete fleets. As many of you know, this would later become 5. The second fleet was commanded by Hiram Drayson, who you probably recognize if you read Star Wars Legends, and even had Horton Salm's famous Y-Wing squadron attached to it. Although the fleet achieved early success against various warlords, a smart little bit of deception by the Empire took some pressure off the major warlords Zinj and Teradok. As the fleet was being repaired and captured Imperial vessels being integrated into New Republic forces, their location at the shipyard Hast was leaked to the Imperials, as was, more importantly, a secret hyperspace route which the New Republic had been using. Instead of going in guns blazing using Star Destroyers, the Empire instead found off the books privately held bulk cruisers, which they retrofitted as carriers for TIE fighters and bombers. This force, led by Imperial Admiral Leon Bangier, launched a devastating blow against the New Republic's Second Fleet, destroying or damaging at least 30 capital ships, and more importantly, taking the fleet out of action, removing pressure from warlords Zinj and Teradok. Alright, that's a small bit of tactics, 1 battle plus some intel. For my second choice, we have something much larger and more obvious, the Thrawn campaign. Now, the Thrawn campaign is the subject of a trilogy of novels. I can't hope to really give it justice here, but Thrawn essentially waged a guerrilla-style campaign against the New Republic after the New Republic had been more properly established, seated on Coruscant, etc., years after the events we just discussed, using very limited assets. For me, the highlights of the Thrawn campaign is how Thrawn managed to deal with his force's weaknesses. Not enough ships? Well, we have the battle at Sluis Von, where he tried to capture newly constructed or repaired repaired Mon Calamari cruisers. That wasn't successful due mostly to bad luck, but he tried. He captured the Dark Force of Katana dreadnoughts. He needed new crew. He cloned them. Arguably, Thrawn's masterstroke, however, and this may be controversial, was goading the New Republic into an all-or-nothing battle at Bilbringi. I say this is controversial because Thrawn lost, and so did his forces, but that was largely due to his assassination and the unexpected appearance of the newly formed Smugglers Alliance. Thrawn was going against all odds, and he came really close to winning. Alright, so while these first two entries have been pretty much good overall, the next one is a bit of strategy that showed intelligence, but also had some major downsides. I'm talking about Dalla's Blitz. Dalla essentially took the principles the Rebel Alliance had been using: fast attacks, then leaving, but with the brutality only an Imperial is going to want to employ, and with several Star Destroyers worth of firepower. Now, Dalla was not the first person to do this. We saw, for example, Izani Isar during the Back to War hitting soft targets extremely hard, making some really difficult situations for New Republic citizens and the New Republic's military. But I mean, Dalla had the right idea, she just didn't execute well. For example, her attack on Mon Calamari. She attacked the planet at probably its weakest moment, as it was still recovering from the wrath of the reborn Palpatine. This first campaign, not super successful. Dalla, however, would later unite several Imperial warlord forces and would again attack the galaxy, using massive fleets flexibly to hit a number of targets. Dalla's main issue was not with strategy, but with tactics, and one decisive battle ended each of these campaigns. The most embarrassing one being when Luke's Jedi Praxium basically destroyed her entire fleet, despite not having space forces of its own. Alright, next up we have the early Arinda campaign. This is another example where things started off well, then kind of went downhill for the Empire. So, the Empire had long been committed to holding forces in the deep core, largely because of its historical ties to Imperial power. However, eventually, Pellaeon decided that this would be no longer feasible, and essentially raiding the last of the Imperial shipyards, decided to move rimward and specifically to the planet Arinda. The Empire essentially dug in and offered a quasi-peace to the New Republic. However, the New Republic did not consider this agreement to be cash money and sent the Lusankia, captured Super Star Destroyer. Pellaeon was secretly hiding two super ships, the Megador and the Dominion, which he deployed as the Lusankia faced off against his Super Star Destroyer, the Reaper. Pellaeon would defeat but not destroy Lusankia. He would secure the Empire's borders. Then things got, well, unfortunate. Imperial leadership was, and I quote from the Essential Guide to Warfare, emboldened by Pellaeon's victories and ordered him to go on the offensive. These subsequent battles saw Pellaeon's force whittled down significantly. He lost his flagship, the Super Star Destroyer Reaper, and a good chunk of his military. The Empire would never be the same and was now relegated to essentially being a minor faction in a galaxy dominated by the New Republic. To be fair, the writing for that one had been on the wall for a while, but the Empire lost even more power with over-aggressiveness after the Battle of Arinda. Alright, so the final one I want to talk about is Death Squadron, the fleet we see hunting the rebels in episode 5 and also at the Battle of Endor in episode 6. Now, this is a pretty small one, but having a task force dedicated to hunting down a specific rebel threat was, in Star Wars Legends at least, a pretty radical departure from ordinary Imperial strategy. Now, there had been special projects or fleet uses before. I mentioned, for example, hunting down and pacifying the Outer Rim, but this was the best example of this, the most resources dedicated, including, of course, the Empire's most powerful single ship at the time, the Executor, and it was a smart way to take on the rebels and try to minimize one of their biggest advantages, the fact that the Rebel Alliance usually got to choose where the battle was fought and whether they could run. Obviously, Death Squadron was somewhat successful at the Battle of Hoth. It could have been more so, but for some bad choices made, and it was also, of course, needed for the Empire's battle at Endor. You know, having a mobile fleet means that if it disappears, you just assume it's somewhere in the galaxy. If you're pulling ships from active duty, well, it's a bit harder to explain that and make the trap actually work. But those to me are just 5 times the Empire didn't act totally brain dead. Let me know what you think down below.